folk music that you play there? What is that? How do you call that folk music?
I think it was Studs Terkel who asked Big Bill Brunzi, did he consider his blues music to be folk music? And Big Bill says, well, never heard no horse.
Don't hesitate. It could be your ticket to a new tomorrow.
Channel they're bound to hear. Oh, down the road, mama, down the road. Tie up your dress and run down the road. Your children are hiding and they do not feel. In the prison channel they bound to hear. Mama got the news and you know she went wild with excitement trying to protect her child. He was hard and they do not feel. In the prison channel they are bound to hear. Holly! Tommy King that made the attack and Sims with a cutlass behind his back. They apprehended immediately and taken to the Royal Constabulary. Tommy, you should bite your female. You are well 6 months in the Royal Jail. You don't even wait to see Carnival. Now they charge you habitual criminal. Oh, down the road, mama, down the road. Tie up your dress and roll down the road. Your children are hard and they do not fear. In the prison channel they bound to hear. Holly, I sit down, I heard a voice calling from afar. Son, you did not listen to your mother. Don't cry too late to realize in that royal jail you will be penalized. Nowhere in a British territory can you commit violence so easily. And if they charge you with grand larceny, the full penalty is 10 years in custody. Mama got the news and she took it to heart. From her she suddenly did depart. Her actions were true, she was as good as gold, but the children run her out of this world. Down the road, mama, down the road. Tie up your dress and run down the road. Your children are hiding and they do not feel. In the prison channel they bound to mama, they are bound. Honey, they are bound to you. Thank you.
The show is Horses Sing None of It, and our guest is an internationally known master of the steel string guitar, the steel guitar, Bob Brozman. Welcome to the show.
Thanks very much for having me.
Tell us about that song.
That's an old calypso song. Let's see how I can tell you about this briefly. I'm sort of a global traveler, sort of a guitar anthropologist. As a kid, the first ethnic music I ever heard was blues. And that's not European music. And I discovered the resonator guitars. From there, I discovered Hawaiian music and then Caribbean music. And basically, I realized that all the interesting music happens at the frontiers of guitar colonialism. Wherever the guitar went, the music is really interesting. So that particular song is from Trinidad. It's a calypso song. And usually that music is done with a band, but I like to play it as a solo piece, and just the elements. I've got the drummer working, and then just put some chords in. I'm trying to get as much sound as I can with it. I enjoy the muscular movement of playing music.
Little reminiscent of Wilmoth Houdini.
One of my favorites. Absolutely one of my favorites. And it's interesting, I mean, the New York area had a lot of West Indians living here in the 20s and 30s, and they intermingled with jazz musicians, and there's some great records to be had. In fact, there's a lot of reissues that can be found, you know, online. If you just do a Google on Calypso, you'll find all kinds of great music.
Cool. What else would you like to do for us?
Well, let's see. We'll go maybe in a completely different island direction here and do something a little Hawaiian. I change my strings regularly because I'm the kind of guy that really cares about his job. And I'm tuning him because you probably care about your job, so. So this little baby is a replica of a turn of the 20th century Hawaiian guitar. It's the first kind of Hawaiian guitar, sort of the great-grandfather of the pedal steel, this being the grandfather, you know, the electric lap steel being the father. The thing I love about the guitar cultures all around the world is European standard tuning should be called bizarre tuning because natives can't figure it out, because you have to memorize a bunch of stuff, accept a lot of things on faith, and then you get to have some music. Whereas with open tuning, this way is up, this way is down, and you can see what you hear. It's just more logical in a sort of primitive way. It's more logical. So. chulo e honela e ya e ya. Pameliano ke mohine alame lome lome ya. Thank you.
Excellent.
My pleasure. Let's see. Where do you want to go from here? Big or little?
I'm
Big instrument or a
curious
little
about,
instrument?
is there a translation available for that?
That
Hawaiian?
actually is a very charming song called Meliana A. I really only sang the first and last verses, but essentially it translates loosely as, Marianne is a fine girl. Together we went into the ocean where she massaged my fish. After that, we got drunk, made love in the back of an automobile, and fell asleep on the beach. Mary is a fine girl. That was written in 1912 when things were a little more simple than they are today, I think. So let's see. Yeah, I can give you a choice. We can go to a big, giant instrument or a real small one. It's up to you. Let's go
Little.
Let's go little.
What is this called?
This is a charango from Bolivia. It's basically, as the Portuguese sailed around the world, they dispersed lots of little four-string instruments around, cavaquinhos and things like that. In Hawaii, it became the ukulele. In Bolivia, it became the charango. And it's similar tuning. The ukulele's tuned My Dog Has Fleas. This is tuned My Dog Has Fleas Has. And it just gives you that extra little bit of has. So I'd like to play you a little piece of music now from that I composed in the style of the music of Reunion Island, which is another island. Let's see, I can even show you on the map here. Let's see. Well, let's see. There's Africa. There's Madagascar. And if you go out just a little further in the Indian Ocean, about 1,000 miles, there's a couple of little tiny islands, Mauritius, Reunion, and the Seychelles. Pretty invisible on this guitar, but at any rate, it's a lovely kind of island music that's very intense, volcanic, lots of hot chilies in the food, and sort of a very interesting upside-down 6/8 rhythm. So this is a piece of music called, which I call Debussy in Reunion Island. Introduction. About music. Every rhythm in this world is really only 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. It's our minds that puts it into groups. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Hey, hop, deba deba saba da dinga doba deba da dida dom para di da da dinga saba di do. Natural fade out.
Some of your scat vocalization has reminiscent of an Indian tabla player that we had on.
Well, what I'm doing is the toddler and small child's exercises in Indian music. A real Indian musician will tell you, pretty much if you start after age 3, you'll never be any good. And a real Indian tabla player, as a child, you don't get instruments for 5 years. You have to say all those beats, and the beautiful thing is, modern arbitrary logic is usually hastily constructed. Logic that takes thousands of years is always logical. So, the syllables those guys are saying are 7,000-year-old Sanskrit syllables, which happen to be the fastest set of vowels and consonants that you can work your mouth. If it was all MN, you know, you wouldn't be able to do it. So a real basic one is like my partner Devashish, the guy I work with from India, his 10-month-old daughter was already going da din 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 da din din din. That's the first one, you know. And then you start doing takatigadun, takatigadun, takatigadak, takatigadun, takatigadak, takatigadun, takatigadak, takatigadun, takatigadak, takatigadun, takatigadak, takatigadun, dak, dun, dak, takatigadun, takatigadak, takatigadun, takatigadak, and that's such basic baby exercise, you know, that my level in Indian music is almost like a 9-year-old. And I'm 50 years old and I've been playing music for 45 years. It's a deep and very beautiful, disciplined kind of culture. As opposed to in America, it's like, well, we've been together for 4 weeks and we're not signed yet? What a raw deal. You know. My other favorite analogy is how people describe music today and how people described music in ancient Greece. In ancient Greece, the music was one of the 4 quadriviums, which are the sciences of measurement. There was mathematics, astronomy, geometry, and music. So a compliment to a musician was, wow, man, you really measure the universe beautifully. Whereas today it's like, oh, I like Eminem, his butt looks good in jeans, you know. It's a little bit kind of like, we've come a long way, you know. And I don't want to sound like an old crank, because actually, you know, there's a lot about hip-hop beats that I actually like. I don't really care about what they're rapping about. I think they've all been suckered into the same white materialism that white people have been suckered into in this country. And so, like, you know, African hip-hop artists are actually rapping about finding something to eat, and Puffy Combs is rapping about how much he spends a week on his haircuts. You know, it's just really not, it's a bit nauseating to me, really, and I feel kind of sorry that people in hip-hop are being deluded by the same, you know, religion of stuff that the rest of the country is. Anyway, don't get me started on politics. I recommend third world travel to all Americans. It's a real eye-opener.
All right.
So, let's see.
More music?
Yeah. Let's do something a little calmer. And, you know, like I said, I'm a real beginner musician. And I've been playing 45 years, and I'm just now getting the basics of music, which is really beautiful. I mean, it's a lifelong journey, and it doesn't, you know, any musician that tells you they're good isn't, because, you know, it's an endless journey. You can always be better. So this is an instrument I've had for a month. I've been playing the slide guitar for 30 some odd years, 35 years, and I'm like a child starting over with this. This is an Hindustani slide guitar. I'll show you this if you like. And it's got a lot of strings, 22 strings. It's got basically 6 primary strings. That's what I love about live. Okay, so you've got 6 primary strings here. You've got 2 rhythmic drones. Then you've got 12 sympathetic strings. And they all have to be perfectly in tune. You never play them, they just ring in sympathy to the main notes. So, for example, if I play the note wrong, I don't get anything. If I play it right,
All right.
I get all that. And if you've really got it in tune and you're really in the right place, you get more than one firing. So I'll just improvise a little bit on here, some baby exercises. Very much.
Well, we want to tell folks how to get in touch with you and show some of your recent recordings before we run out of time. These are 3 of your most recent. Blues Reflex.
That one is called Dig Dig. It's from Reunion Island, collaboration. And that one is with the guy who really plays this Indian guitar properly, Debashish Bhattacharya, and his brother Subhashish Bhattacharya, Mahima. Beautiful record. And now that's about less than 10% of my recorded output. I lost count, somewhere above 30 albums.
And the email address is info@bobbrozman.com. And you wanted to mention something about your foundation that you've been working on.
Yeah, as I mentioned, I've traveled in a lot of countries, and I've traveled a lot in Africa and Asia and Papua New Guinea, and in all 3 places there is a severe lack of infrastructure. Anything you can think of, they don't have it. And obviously there's not a lot I can do about the juggernaut of global economics and business and militarism that's creating a lot of unbalance in this world, but neither do I want to get an ulcer about it, worrying about it. So my wife and I decided to take action and put our efforts where our mouth is, so to speak, and we've started something called the Global Music Aid Foundation, which serves to get all the surplus guitars and surplus guitar strings from wealthy countries into the hands of musicians in poor countries. The last actual recording project I did was a remote trip to Papua New Guinea, where I recorded 5 guitar bands from 5 different villages. And Papua is the last place on earth where guitar is washed up on shore. Lo and behold, they play in open tuning as well. And so the first bunch of guys I'm going to be outfitting is about 60 musicians down there in Papua New Guinea. For me, all I'm trying to do as an older person now is give back what I've gotten from this world, and I just figure the more people I can get playing music more easily, playing more music, the less criminals we'll have, the less soldiers we'll have.
Cool. So people interested in that foundation's work can find it on www.bobbrozman.com?
Yes, and they can email me there to get more information.
Okay. We have just enough time to take it out.
All right. How about you and I play one?
Yeah. I want to thank you for being on the show. It's really been a pleasure to hear you up
My pleasure.
close and personal.
It's an honor to be here. So let's play something together. Let me just see, I shot a finger pick out here somewhere. There's one. That happens sometimes. It's good to wear eyewear at my gig, you know. So let's see. And we get in. Now I want to show other Americans the proper sort of musical diplomacy. Wherever you go, you shouldn't make the person you meet tune to you. You should tune to them. So if you'd give me a note, please. Okay, so we'll start off with a little slow blues, and then I think we'll hippity hop it a little bit, all right? Let's see, 1, 2, 3.